What is going on, guys? In this video I'm doing a review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 5. That's right, it's not called the Note Space 5, they changed the naming convention to simply Note 5. I'm not sure why, but that is what the new Note is called. Measuring in 153.2 by 76.1 by 7.6 millimeters, it's weighing in at a pretty respectable 171 grams. And this is a very sleek looking device. It's the best looking Note device to date. You'll notice that the bezels on the left and right of the screen are, well, they're almost non-existent. The device itself is mostly metal and glass, and it pretty much looks like a larger Galaxy S6 with an S Pen stylus at the bottom. Of course, there are some drawbacks to this design. Of course, the back is a little bit slippery, which is not a major deal. Then of course, you don't have a micro SD card slot, it's been removed. You can't access the battery, it's now a unibody seal design. And of course, Samsung has removed the IR blaster, which Samsung says, well, not many people use that function, so why include it? So it's kind of unfortunate that the body design had to go a bit of a downgrade from the previous model. Now you would think that this body isn't that comfortable because it's mostly glass and metal, but it's actually the most comfortable Note so far. You see, the back edges are actually the most curved it's ever been, so it feels more natural to grip in the hand. But going over the other sides of the body, on the bottom left and going to the right, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, a USB 2.0 port, the speaker, the first microphone, and the S Pen stylus, which no longer slides out. To get it out, you have to simply press in and it pops back out, which is new to this version. It's never been done before. And to simply get it back in, all you have to do is push it in all the way and it clips and snaps right back into its slot. Going over to the left, we have just the volume rocker buttons, not much going on here. Moving over to the top, we have the SIM card tray on the right because you have to use a pin to eject it, and the secondary microphone. Over on the right, we have just the power button alone. And over on the back, you wouldn't think there's much happening, but there's actually a lot. Let's start off with that 16 megapixel gorgeous camera. So what you guys are seeing right now is 4K footage compressed down to 1080p to match the rest of this clip, and Samsung has done it once again. They're notorious for making some of the best cameras on a smartphone, and the Note 5 is clearly no exception. It's amazing and stunning. One of the best on the market you can get. You're getting some great detail and some great color pop, which I think is best represented here in this produce section of the grocery store. But this actually also carries over to just taking general pictures in good lighting conditions. You're getting some great details in it in the 16 megapixel shooter in the rear, and with some macro shots, you're also getting some nice depth of field shots. But as mentioned, there's more going on the back of the device than meets the eye. There's also a fingerprint scanner just below the flash that once activated, it starts reading your heart rate, and it's actually vastly improved over last year's model. Hey guys, so what I'm doing right now is just testing out the front-facing camera for you guys. All audio and video is taken directly from the front-facing camera. It is recording in 1440p, which doesn't mean it's going to be greater than most 1080p rear cameras on a phone. It just tries to match the quality of the screen, but for a front-facing camera, you're still getting 5 megapixels and it looks great. It's one of the better front-facing cameras available on the market, again, as you would expect from Samsung when it comes to the camera quality. Now the camera app has become extremely simplified, but it still retains a lot of the core functions that you expect from a Samsung camera app. You have your general quality settings, you can set your geolocations and etc. You also have the ability to change your modes. For example, you have Pro mode, which is basically a manual mode, you selective focus. There's even a new YouTube live broadcast. You have slow motion, which actually reduces the quality to retain that slow motion capture, but it works pretty decent. There's an assortment of other functions you can of course download by simply going to mode, download. It opens up the Samsung Galaxy Store app, which you can download even more functions previously found on other models. So you have a great amount of options available. You'll probably never need a third-party camera app to download. Switching over to the front camera, here I am, hello. And you basically have even more options available that are unique to the Galaxy Note 5. For example, simply waving your palm in front of the camera while taking a selfie will start a countdown timer to take the picture automatically for you. Of course, there are other functions available as you would expect. By simply tapping mode, you get more. For example, you have wide selfie, which is basically a front-facing mini panorama, so you can take a group selfie shot. Now moving over to the front of the device, you can find the notification light on the top left of the screen, which pulses about every 5 seconds and has a decent brightness level. Not only does this device have one of the best cameras on a smartphone, it also has one of the best screens on a smartphone. You have this huge 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1440 by 2560, which basically makes it higher than 1080p. It's also called Quad HD or 2K if you want. It has approximately 518 ppi and is protected by Corning Gorilla Glass 4, and it is absolutely stunning. The sharpness detail, the clarity, the color pop is superb. He also has some abilities to adjust the color settings of the screen in the main system settings menu, which you can add more saturation, make it duller. You have that capability. And because of the near bezel-less design of the left and right of the screen, it makes the screen look bigger than it actually is. And of course, it also has some of the best viewing angles I've ever seen on an Android device. So I just want to show you guys how loud that single speaker can actually get. I'm going to play a YouTube video from my channel on max volume, so let's take a listen. Clarity's beyond 1080p, and I can certainly vouch for that. This is one of the best looking screens. So for a single speaker, it can get very loud, but due to the poor positioning, it can get kind of annoying when watching a video. For example, how great it is. Despite having an OLED display, I would have liked a bit more color pop from it, but generally the color pop is okay. Just would have been nice if it was lower. See, as you can see, you can unfortunately cover up a lot of the sound if you're holding it the wrong way. As mentioned, Samsung has unfortunately removed the microSD card slot, and you only get internal storage options of 32 or 64 gigs. Powering this device is a 7420 octa-core processor with a quad-core running at 1.5 GHz and another quad-core running at 1.2 GHz. And as for the GPU, we have a Mali T760MP8 GPU, and of course you also have a whopping 4 gigs of RAM. Now I just want to mention that switching between apps is a little slow. You get a half a second delay when opening an app through your apps listing, but look how many apps I have open. It's unreal. I've never seen any device have this many apps open at the same time. The list is huge. I'm actually very impressed. Now this performance also carries over to when playing top graphic Android games, which is in my opinion the best way to measure the performance of the hardware inside, and it can handle every game easily, especially considering that it has a 1440p screen. That's rather impressive. So I want to demonstrate the camera performance really quick, so I'm actually going to swipe away the camera so it's completely closed, and if I double tap the home screen, the camera opens nearly instantly. If you enable this feature, the camera is like always on and ready to go. The speed of it is unreal. And of course, switching over to multitasking, the Galaxy Note 5, as you would expect, is still one of the top dogs. Samsung really is the master of true multitasking in a smartphone by allowing you to have two apps open at the same time, which is a multi-window mode. And of course, not all apps are supported, but the ones that are supported work great. The device is actually running the cleanest version of TouchWiz to date, and it's actually an enjoyable experience, and Samsung actually did something I've been really waiting for. They finally got rid of Quick Connect and S Finder from the notification drawer. My notification drawer is once again clean. You do have the option to enable it or disable it, but I'm so glad that they got rid of it. It took them years to get it across their heads, but they did it. I only wish you could remove the brightness control level, but I'll let that slide. Now the battery size has been decreased ever so slightly, as it's now housing a 3000 mAh battery, but the performance is still about the same as last year's, and that's due to the software optimization. You have two power saving modes, and you have a quick recharge effect, which you can recharge about 50% of the battery in about 35 to 40 minutes. Of course, you have wireless Qi and PMA charging, and Samsung also has a fast wireless recharging ability with this device. Yes, you heard me correctly. Going over connectivity, we have the usual like GPS, Wi-Fi, which supports 802.11a, b, g, n, and AC, LTE, Bluetooth 4.1, and an NFC chip, DLNA, USB connectivity, of course, for charging your device or connecting to a computer. And you also have the ability to connect to a car system, in which you can display and mirror your device to the car system via USB control if your car has that supported function. There's also a download booster, which allows you to combine your LTE and Wi-Fi speeds together to download files even faster off the internet. And yes, there is also Mirrorcast. As you can see, I'm now displaying my smartphone to my TV wirelessly. Apart from how the S Pen stylus ejects, there are some new welcome changes brought in with these functions. For example, if you eject the S Pen stylus while your screen is off, well, it'll turn on but create a digital dark notepad for you, so you don't have to unlock the screen to take a note. And of course, if you do press the S Pen stylus button, it will bring up your Air Command functions, but you'll notice that it now retains its functions to the side of the screen, left or right. It no longer pops up in the middle no matter what you do. That's actually pretty much a good thing. It kind of hides it, but you know it's available and active. You also have the ability to add your own custom shortcuts for apps. You have the abilities like before, you can write on the screen if you want, it takes a screen capture, or take an immediate notepad, and a few more. Something that's been greatly improved over last year's model is of course the Fingerprint Scanner. Previously you had to swipe your finger down, which worked okay, but was kind of annoying. Now if you program the correct finger and try to match it, as you can see my index is not recognized, but my thumb will be, just simply touching and holding it for about half a second will unlock the screen. Now with all these functions packed into this device, we can't forget that it is a smartphone and the call quality is decent. I still feel like the G Flex 2 is one of the best smartphones I've used in terms of phone call quality, but this device is okay. Now going over the Gallery app, you do have a lot of photo editing functions. For example, if you tap Edit, you have some basic controls in editing, but if you tap Photo Editor from within here, you get even more photo editing functions. The amount of editing options available in this gallery is crazy, and you probably won't need a third-party app from the Google Play Store. So the Galaxy Note 5 released a little earlier this year than usual, and I'm pretty sure I know for a couple of reasons why. The first, of course, is back to school sale. Want to take advantage? It's mid-August. Then, of course, the second is to beat the release of the new iPhone, which is most likely going to be called the iPhone 6S, or as I dub it, the iPhone Success, perhaps? I guess I made that moniker up. I was a little concerned there'd be a lot of bugs out of the device, and out of the box, but it actually functions fairly well. In fact, I was one of the first people to actually notice while playing with it is that it's basically the Galaxy S6 but bigger and with an S Pen stylus. But that's not really a bad thing. The body's a little bit slippery, but honestly not a big deal. I don't really mention it as a bad thing because, well, if anything's gonna break, it's usually the screen, so you should be careful with your smartphone in the first place anyway. Generally, it's everything the Note should have been from previous generations up until now. This is by far the best Note to date, and Samsung has finally done it right. Be sure to check out other videos regarding the Note 5, including camera sample videos, which you can download an original clip recorded with this 4K camera, a gaming demo video, a whole bunch of other videos regarding the Note 5 in the video description. Be sure to check out my Facebook, Google+, Twitter links also in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help, subscribe, and thanks for watching.